Welcome to the world of ancient Mesopotamia, where myths and gods were an integral part of daily life. In this chapter, we will explore the foundations of local mythology and discover the role that the gods played in the culture of this ancient region. The land nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers was the cradle of one of the first civilizations, and its myths reflect the beliefs and views of its inhabitants. Here, gods and goddesses governed all aspects of life, from nature to human affairs. We will discuss how these deities were worshipped, how their roles evolved over time, and the impact they had on the development of ancient societies. Get ready to embark on a fascinating journey through myths and legends. In the Mesopotamian pantheon, gods were divided into senior and junior categories, reflecting their status, power, and influence. Senior gods, such as Enlil, Anu, and Ea, were considered the progenitors and rulers of the universe, holding supreme authority over the world and humanity. They created laws governing nature and life, and held dominant positions in myths and rituals. These gods were inviolable and controlled the fates of both humans and junior gods. Junior gods, such as Ninurta, Ishtar, and Nabu, although important figures in mythology, were subordinate to the senior gods. They typically played specific roles related to particular aspects of life, such as war, love, or wisdom. These gods did not wield the same power as the senior gods, and often acted as intermediaries between the senior gods and humans. Disagreements between senior and junior gods frequently arose from issues of power and order. Senior gods sought to maintain established order, while junior gods sometimes challenged or sought to alter existing rules. An example of such conflicts is the myth of Tiamat and the junior gods who rose against her, leading to the creation of the world and a new order. These conflicts reflect the eternal struggle for balance between chaos and order, youth and age, which is characteristic of many mythologies. In Mesopotamian culture, this division of deities symbolized the complex structure of the universe, where every force had its place and role. Marduk, the central deity of Babylon, is a prominent figure in the myth Enuma Elish. In this myth, he triumphed over Tiamat, the goddess of chaos and the primordial waters. Tiamat had rebelled against the junior gods, and Marduk was chosen to confront her. He fought Tiamat in an epic battle, defeated her, and split her body into pieces to create the heavens and the earth. This victory symbolized the establishment of order from chaos. Marduk was revered in Babylon as the supreme god. His honor was celebrated through grand rituals and festivals, including the New Year celebrations, which commemorated his victory over chaos and the renewal of order. In the temple of Esagila, dedicated to Marduk, daily sacrifices and ceremonies were held. Statues of Marduk depicted him with 4 legs, symbolizing his strength and dominion over all things. Tiamat, one of the oldest goddesses, embodied the primordial waters of chaos and the abyss. In the myth Enuma Elish, she acts as the antagonist, leading an army against the junior gods. Tiamat and her consort Apsu, the deity of fresh waters, decided to destroy the new order established by the junior gods, sparking a cosmic conflict. In response, Marduk was chosen to stop her. Tiamat took the form of a dragon or sea serpent, and her power seemed invincible. In the battle, Marduk used his magical abilities and cunning to ensnare Tiamat and ultimately defeat her. Worship of Tiamat was linked to ancient rituals centered on water and fertility. While her image was often associated with destruction, she also symbolized the forces of nature and abundance. Ea, also known as Enki, was the god of wisdom, magic, and water in Mesopotamian mythology. Renowned for his profound knowledge and magical abilities, Ea played a crucial role in resolving conflicts among the gods and assisting humanity. In the myth Enuma Elish, following Marduk's victory over Tiamat, Ea acts as an advisor and helper, contributing to the creation of the new world. He uses his wisdom to establish the world based on the new order set by Marduk. Ea's worship involved various rituals and offerings aimed at preserving knowledge and magical powers. His temples hosted ceremonies related to wisdom and divination. Ea was symbolized by the goat and the fish, reflecting his association with water and wisdom. He was also known as a deity who could intervene in human affairs. Shamash, the god of the sun and justice, had a name that meant sun in Akkadian. He was responsible for illuminating the world both physically and morally. Shamash governed justice and laws, with his light symbolizing truth and order. He was depicted as a deity overseeing the enforcement of truth and justice, especially in legal matters. Shamash was notably associated with the Code of Hammurabi, one of the earliest known legal codes, which was said to have been given to Hammurabi by the god himself. His worship involved various rituals aimed at maintaining order and justice. Temples dedicated to Shamash hosted ceremonies designed to reinforce the moral and ethical principles of society. Offerings and sacrifices often included gifts symbolizing light and warmth, such as bread and wine. Ishtar, also known as Inanna, was one of the most complex and powerful goddesses in Mesopotamian mythology. She embodied love, beauty, and fertility, but was also associated with war and destruction. This dual nature made her one of the most fascinating deities in the Mesopotamian pantheon. Ishtar was revered as a goddess whose emotions and actions could bring both joy and fear. One of the well-known myths about Ishtar is her journey to the underworld, where she seeks to seize power but faces numerous challenges and losses. Worship of Ishtar involved festivals and rituals dedicated to both her aspects of love and fertility, as well as her martial qualities. Temples dedicated to Ishtar hosted ceremonies aimed at ensuring fertility and success in warfare. Offerings to her often included fruits, flowers, and precious items. Ashur was the chief god of Assyria and symbolized military power and state authority. As the god of war, Ashur was not only the protector of the city of Ashur, but also the lord of military campaigns and conquests. His influence was especially prominent during the height of the Assyrian Empire, when warfare and expansion were central to state policy. His symbols included the falcon and weapons such as the sword and bow, emphasizing his role as the patron of military endeavors. Worship of Ashur involved grand rituals and festivals that celebrated military victories and reinforced the connection between the god and state leaders. Magnificent temples and monuments were built in his honor, and his cult was a central aspect of Assyrian state religion. Nin-Hursag, also known as Ninshma, was the goddess embodying the earth and fertility. As the mother of all living beings, she was considered the guardian of nature and agriculture. In myths, Nin-Hursag is often depicted as a benevolent and nurturing deity, bestowing abundance and vitality. She plays a role in the creation and development of humanity, assisting the gods in their efforts to create the world and cultivate the land. One well-known myth describes how Nin-Hursag creates the first humans from clay to aid the gods in their tasks and meet their needs. Worship of Nin-Hursag included rituals dedicated to fertility and harvest. Her temples were frequently located in rural areas and served as centers for ceremonies aimed at ensuring good crops and protecting plants. Ninurta, also known as Ninurta, was the god of hunting, agriculture, and protection in Mesopotamian mythology. He embodied the forces of nature and was revered as the patron of farmers and hunters. Ninurta possessed great strength and skill in weaponry, making him a vital defender against enemies and threats. In myths, Ninurta is often depicted as a hero battling mythical monsters and adversaries. One of the most famous myths recounts his victory over a monster called the Mushushu, which threatened the world. Ninurta defeated this beast, establishing order and protection for people and land. Worship of Ninurta included rituals and ceremonies related to hunting and agriculture. Festivals were held in his honor to celebrate successful harvests and hunting expeditions. Gilgamesh, the historical king of Uruk, became a legendary figure in Mesopotamian mythology through the epic that bears his name. The Epic of Gilgamesh is one of the greatest literary works of antiquity. Gilgamesh was a demigod, the son of the priest Shununu and the goddess Ninsun, endowing him with extraordinary strength and wisdom. In the myth, Gilgamesh embarks on a quest for immortality, following the tragic death of his friend Enkidu. Throughout his journey, he faces numerous trials and encounters various gods and mythological beings. The story of Gilgamesh also includes a famous flood myth reminiscent of the biblical Noah's flood. In ancient Uruk, Gilgamesh was venerated as the ideal king and hero. His feats and wisdom were revered as exemplary qualities for rulers and leaders. Teshub was the supreme god of the sky and thunder in Hurrian and Urartian mythology. And although he was not a primary deity in Mesopotamia, his influence extended to neighboring regions, including the Hurrians and Urartians. He embodied the power of nature, particularly thunder and lightning, and was regarded as the patron of kings and heroes. In myths, Teshub is often depicted as a powerful deity battling monsters and establishing order from chaos. One of the most renowned myths describes his struggle against Hala, a dragon that threatens the world. Teshub defeats Hala, and this victory symbolizes the establishment of order and justice. Teshub's worship involved rituals and festivals dedicated to his might and role in nature. Era was the god of destruction, war, and plague in Mesopotamian mythology, known for his fierce and unpredictable nature. Era embodied the darker aspects of war and destruction, and his cult was associated with unforeseen and catastrophic events. In myths, Era is often depicted as a deity who craves destruction and waged war against other gods and humanity. One of the most famous myths, the Epic of Era, describes how Era brings chaos to the earth, using plague and warfare to destroy people. Despite his destructive powers, Era was also considered necessary for maintaining the balance between order and chaos. Worship of Era included rituals aimed at appeasing his anger and preventing destructive events. In Mesopotamia, beliefs about gods evolved as civilization progressed, adapting to new social and political conditions. In earlier periods, gods were closely tied to natural phenomena, such as Enlil, the god of wind and storms, symbolizing nature's unpredictability, and Inanna representing fertility and war. Over time, deities began to take on more human-like characteristics and assumed roles as protectors of cities and kings. Political changes, such as the rise of new city-states, affected the status of deities. For instance, Marduk, initially a lesser deity, became the supreme god after Babylon rose to prominence. These shifts reflected not only political dynamics, but also the evolution of religious concepts. Furthermore, as various cultures and peoples exerted influence, the Mesopotamian pantheon was enriched with new gods and myths, leading to syncretism and changes in the roles of traditional deities. Mesopotamian gods and goddesses were an integral part of ancient life, reflecting their beliefs and values. From the mighty Enlil to the enigmatic Inanna, each played a crucial role in understanding the world. These myths and stories, passed down through the ages, offer a glimpse into the ancient culture and its rich heritage. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with new stories about ancient civilizations.